the Ventura County real estate market is changing. Or is it? Let's talk about that in another monthly market update. What is up, everyone? It's Brian Castor with callcaster.com and eXp Realty, bringing you another monthly market update. Now, every time we do this, we're looking at last month's numbers because we can't tell the future, but we can see what's going on in the market. So what happened in the market last month? Well, the median sales price went down month over month to $836,000 from the $880,000 we saw the month before, which is still a huge increase from the $748,000 we saw last year. Overall, the number of listings went up quite a bit, and that's the first time it's happened in a minute, to 1,127 listings compared to 943 last month and 1,043 year over year, which makes it one of the highest inventories we've seen in a really long time. The days on market went down to only 14, which is much better than our, well, better for sellers, worse for buyers, compared to 16 last month and 16 last year. And overall, interest rates, which are super important, are hanging steady at about 5.5 month over month, which is, again, much higher than we had last year, which was only 3.2%. So the headline everywhere is the market is crashing, the market is changing, and just about every realtor you talk to will say the market is changing. Is it? Or are people just getting excited? Well, here's my take. Every single May we have had for the last 20 years, prices have gone down. Every single May, about $30,000, around $20,000 to $30,000. So we went down a little bit more than usual this May, but prices went up a lot more than they usually do. Keep in mind, the average for Ventura County price increases for homes is around 3 to 5%. We've had years where it's gone up 0% or 1%. So when the prices go up 20%, it's not that weird to see bigger price fluctuations in the market. So is the price reduction that we had this last month a big deal? No. Happens every year. It's totally normal. It's not a sign of anything changing or anything going bad. It's, again, what we see every year and is totally normal. But the number of listings went way up to 1,100 and some change, right? Is that a big deal? Well, that is a bigger increase than we have seen. It's the biggest increase we've seen since the pandemic started, which is huge. But what about before the pandemic? Well, before the pandemic, we would almost always see about 200 homes hit the market in the month of May, which is exactly what we saw. And usually that 200 would bump up our total inventory to 2,500 homes. We're only sitting at 1,100 and some change, right? So we're still less than half of what we normally see. So is that a big sign that something crazy is happening? No. Again, 200 homes hitting the market that month is normal. And the number of homes on the market is still half of what we usually see. So are we looking at big changes that, all kinds of craziness going on? No, it's pretty normal, right? Days on market are still super low, which is historically, again, great for sellers, crummy for buyers. Interest rates have gone up, which is going to make your purchase a little harder. So do we see a market crash coming? No. My best prediction for what the market is going to do is I believe we're going to start heading towards pre-pandemic levels where home prices go up a more normal rate, where buyers have still a deck stacked against them, because keep in mind that before the pandemic, it was still a seller's market. It just wasn't as crazy of a seller's market. So I think that we're heading back towards a cooler market, towards a normal market that still very much favors sellers, but just isn't as insane as we've been dealing with for the past 2 years, which feels like forever. So now that we know it's not time to panic and the market is still very healthy, is it a good time to buy? Well, I've been telling you guys every single month, prices are going up, interest rates are going up. I think the same thing is still happening. Prices appear to still be going up. It took a dip this last month. Realistically, prices are going to continue to rise over the summer, although I think it's going to be much, much slower than we've seen in the last 2 years, I think prices will continue to rise. I think that interest rates will continue to rise. We're going to see a lot of experts are saying that the interest rates are going to plateau at 5.5 here for a while. I don't know. I think that with the inflation as high as it is, we're going to continue to see interest rates go up. So in terms of is it a good time to buy, prices aren't going to get a lot better, if they're going to get better at all. And right now there's less competition because the market's cooling down a little bit. So you're going to get a little bit more of what you wanted than you would have gotten 2 months ago. You're going to be able to have your full inspection. You're going to possibly skip out in a whole bidding war. You may or may not be able to get your home under contract for $5,000 or $10,000 below asking price. So overall, conditions are a little bit better for you than they've been. Prices are higher, but it's a good time if you've been waiting to get inspections and get your appraisal contingency and stuff like that. Get a little of the stuff, some of the stuff that you wanted before you bought a house instead of just buying into the crazy frenzy that we had. As a seller, is it a good time to sell? I think so. I think that if you've hung out until now waiting to sell, the market's not going to get a lot better. Prices, again, are going to go up, very likely, but very slowly. The buyer pool is still very healthy and is likely to cool down a little bit, even though it's the opposite of what we usually see over the summer. So in terms of selling, if you want to get really good terms out of your buyers and you want to have a bidding war, it's a good time. I'm getting the feeling that if we wait too much longer, it's going to go back to, like I was saying, back to like 2018, 2019 market, where you get an offer or two, but it was nowhere near the insanity that we're seeing. So is it a good time to sell? Yes. Good time to buy? Yes. It's a healthier market. It's not as crazy. It's not quite as scary as it was a few months ago for all the parties involved. So if you have any questions, you know what to do. Call Castro, and I'll talk to you guys soon.